Well, it may be hard to see the world under quarantine, but isolation won't last for too much longer, hopefully.
No, trouble don't last always. And believe it or not, world travel is within reach under any budget, especially
Yes.
if you have kids. Now, family travel expert Monet Hambrick, she reveals her secrets to traveling internationally on the cheap. So tell us about the traveling child and how did it come about?
All right, guys. So I started the Traveling Child back in April 2016, thanks to a push from one of my friends. I had been traveling with my older daughter since she was born. She took her first flight at 6 weeks. And then when I had my younger daughter, we were going to Colombia while I was on maternity leave when she was 10 weeks old. And my friend was like, I think it's so powerful what you're doing. There's so many parents that think once they have kids, their life is over, travel is over. And I see that's not the case for you. And I think you could be so inspiring to other parents that want to continue travel that think it's not possible. So she convinced me to start this Instagram, but I wanted to be more than just pictures of us exploring the world. So I provided tips on how to survive flights with kids, how to travel with breast milk, and providing all the itineraries for our trips to make it easier for parents to plan their own vacations. So now you can go on our site and find tips on how to make it affordable and pretty much have a blueprint to plan your own trip without having to do much work.
And how do you keep things affordable while having kids?
Yeah, so I think with that, so many people think traveling with kids is expensive, but it doesn't have to be. For us, our rule is we always follow the deals. So instead of picking a destination with specific dates, we are very flexible. So we use sites like secretflying.com, theflightdeal.com, and Skyscanner to be able to find affordable flights. So for instance, last year we flew to Denver from Fort Lauderdale for $99 round trip. And this past Thanksgiving, we went to Morocco for $400 round trip from Miami. And that was during a time that kids are out of school. So you can still find deals on school breaks. And if you have specific destination that you need to go to or specific dates that you have to travel, you can use Skyscanner. You can put your home airport, you can put everywhere as a destination and the specific dates that you can travel, and it will tell you the cheapest places that you can go during those dates. Or you can put your home airport, your destination that you want to go to, and it will show you the cheapest times that you can travel there. We also use Airbnb a lot. That way we can cook meals when we're on our trip, prepare snacks for the kids, and using things like Groupon and Travelzoo. That way we can find deals on activities and restaurants and just make our overall expenses while we're on vacation lower.
What are the benefits of traveling with kids in regards to helping them develop as they experience so many different walks of life?
Yeah, so for me, I think it helps a lot with adaptability and flexibility. Just for instance, on Friday, me and my older daughter were going to Wisconsin. We had a connection in Dallas. It ended up being delayed for 2 hours. Then we sat on the plane for 90 minutes while they were dealing with a maintenance issue. We had to get off the flight and it ended up being delayed until 5 a.m. This was at like 9:30 when we got off the flight. So we had to go to a friend's house to sleep, wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get back to the airport at 5 a.m. But there were no complaints from her. She's done it a few times, and just being able to adapt to the situation, being flexible, having patience, those are things that she's learned during travel. And from a cultural perspective, going to different destinations, we typically do a cooking class or a dance class while we're there, things that are fun and interactive for them. We learn the different languages, and it just shows my kids that everyone that doesn't look like you, speaks like you, eats the same food as you, they are great people. And I think especially in the political environment that we have now, that's something that's very important for them to know, that just because someone's different than you doesn't mean that they're a bad person. And even we went to Thailand a few years ago, and if we go to a Thai restaurant here in Florida, to hear my daughter greet the workers and say "Sawasdee ka," and something that she learned when we were in Thailand, and knowing the different types of food to order at 5 years old, that's something that shows us that we're doing the right thing.
And with your blog, what do you hope families, specifically Black families, take away from your experiences?
Yeah, so for us, it's really important for them to know that this is possible. There has been a lot more representation from the Black community within travel and with families, but mainstream media still typically shows white families or the same types of families. So for us, being a representative of the Black community is so important to show that we can go wherever we want to go, to dispel the myths that we can't afford to travel or whatever the case may be. There's also still so many destinations that we've gone to that I hear from my audience that are like, oh my God, I didn't think that as a Black person I would be welcome there. So being able to expand the horizons of where we travel. And more so for that, for me, last year I published my first children's book, and it's all on our travels. And it was just to take our travels off the internet, put it in the hands of kids, and be able to really show kids, especially brown and Black kids, you can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want to do. The world is literally in your hands. And also hoping that non-Black families and non-brown families will purchase the book as well and put some diversity on their bookshelves, because I think for far too long travel has been a narrow path and just showing one face, and I'm really hoping that we can change that narrative.
And what advice do you have for families and also us millennials who believe we cannot afford to travel due to our responsibilities, like we got bills and also, most importantly, student loans?
So I think with that, it has so much to do with prioritizing travel. For us, it's something that's always been a priority. So with that, we had to make adjustments. So for one, we have a travel savings account that we put a specific amount every single month, or anytime we get an extra surprise, money, we put that into there. But we don't have cable. We just have Netflix and the internet. I stopped getting my biweekly nail appointments that I would get all the time. I do my hair myself. I do the girls' hair myself. My husband and I bring lunch to work every single day instead of eating out constantly. There's so many times that it's like your coworkers are like, oh, let's go to happy hour, let's go out to eat lunch. But when you're spending $10 to $20 a day on lunch, that's $50 to $100 a week. That can pay for quite a few vacations, So I think it all has to do with prioritizing things. Think about how much your Apple Music subscription costs or things like that, your coffee, what can you cut out? What are you willing to sacrifice to put towards travel that can make this a reality for you?
You've traveled to a number of places. Where would you say are your top 3 favorite destinations?
Yes, it's so hard to pick one, but I would say top 5 would be, well, one, I'll start with, I'm Jamaican, so Jamaica's always like at the top, so I won't include that. Other destinations would be Kenya, Morocco, Brazil, Costa Rica, and we absolutely love RVing, and we did an RV trip last year throughout the Southwest U.S. to Arizona, Utah, and Nevada, and that was just beautiful.
And how far in advance do you plan these trips?
So it depends. That's the thing with flight deals and being flexible. So for instance, when we went to Kenya and we got that flight deal, we booked the flight deal in November and we went the following September. However, when we went to Brazil, we ended up getting a flight deal for about $300 for my daughter's spring break for last year. And that ticket was booked about 4 weeks in advance. So it really just depends on when the deals come up.
Closing out, anything you want to add about your blog and also, most importantly, traveling as a family?
I would just say that sometimes I hear, why do you travel with kids so young? They won't remember, you're wasting your money. And I would just say to that, one, you as the parent, as the adult, will remember these things. Everything's not about just what the child remember everything, because they're going to pick up so many skills and moments from that trip, and you'd be surprised at how much they do remember. But I also say that life is short, and unfortunately, we don't know what will ever happen. And waiting till retirement or waiting till the kids are a certain age, I just think you're missing out on so much from that. So I would say just live in the moment, enjoy those special times with your kids, because we just don't know how long it will last.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.